The hour of convening having arrived, all members of the House will please report to their seats. All members of this House will please report to their seats. The clerk will ring the bell. All members will take their seats. We're about to have the morning roll call. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Chairman Burchett, do I need to ask Chairman Hogan to help you out up there? Have all members now voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. Well, good morning. Hope everyone had a wonderful Valentine's Day and a good President's Day and ready to go to work now after a nice break. Doorkeepers will please close the doors and keep them closed. Let me remind you before we get into the devotion that COVID testing today is going on until 12:30 p.m. downstairs. If you have not tested, remember our policy. No test, no admittance. So you've got until 12:30 to be tested. We will begin our day with scripture reading and prayer by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the lady from the 56th House District, Representative Misha Maynor. Representative Maynor.
Thank you, Speaker. It's my honor to introduce today Reverend Anthony Motley. Reverend Motley is the senior pastor at Lindsay Street Baptist Church. Lindsay Street Baptist Church has been in existence for 109 years. Its oldest member is Mother Savannah Williams. She is 102 years old. The church is located in my district in the English Avenue neighborhood, which is very close to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Reverend Motley, he began his journey preaching the Lord's word first in Tallapoosa, Georgia, at Mount Sinai, and then second he went on to Cedartown and Rome, Georgia. He has a beautiful daughter by the name of Shanae, a granddaughter named Sanae. And when I asked him, how are things going during COVID? He said that the church has responded beyond his expectation. even more so glorifying the Lord's name in adversity. Without further ado, Reverend Anthony Motley.
Speaker Ralston, my host, Representative Misha Maynor, our wonderful legislator who was just simply tailor-made for District 56. She will distinguish her district, herself, her people, this Black History Month, as a black woman, an African American woman. To all of the members of the Black Caucus and my dear friends, many of whom I see with us today, Representative Al Williams, and others. I've met many of them this morning, whom I've had the pleasure of meeting, and of course, you are, I'm sure, proud of your own representative, Stacey Abrams, with Nobel Peace Prize people. All of my dear legislative friends, and to all of the representatives from all over Georgia, every district of Georgia. When we turn to pledge our allegiance to the flag, we will do so not simply with the mere colors and cloth in mind, but with what, of course, the flag represents and points to and stands for. Our allegiance is pledged to the republic for which the flag stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all of her citizens, citizens of the United States of America, across all lines, racial, religious, regional, sexual orientation, national origin, citizens, age, color, creed, citizens. We dare not reduce our allegiance to color and cloth. We belong to something higher, something nobler. We have a higher loyalty. But when does that loyalty, when does our allegiance, our commitment to that higher authority kick in? In his book, A Higher Loyalty, FBI Director James Comey cites the dinner meeting between he and former president, where he says he felt pressured and pulled, and some kind of an alien power emanating from the president to persuade him not to reaffirm his allegiance to the Constitution or to the flag or to the Lord, for that matter, but to pledge his allegiance to him, to President Trump. I need your loyalty. I expect loyalty, the president said to him. By refusing to do so, he made himself public enemy number one. was, of course, relieved of his duties. There comes a time when party politics and the partisan divides must give way to what Robert Reich and David Hume referred to as the greater good or the common good. It's a time when the nation's allegiance must shift from Democratic and Republican party labels. Those labels must lose their meaning, and decisions must be made based on what's good for the democracy as a whole. On January 6th, we dodged a domestic terroristic bullet, no matter your politics. When the Congress was in the process of certifying the election of Joe Biden as president, Kamala Harris as vice president, when an attempted coup to destroy our democracy and install a Soviet-style dictatorship was attempted and almost succeeded, but for the intercession of our merciful God, through Officer Eugene Goodman and a host of others, we saw some notable persons who answered the call to shift their allegiance to a higher authority. In Representative Liz Cheney, a conservative who nonetheless harnessed the courage to say, the President of the United States summoned this mob, lit the flames of this attack. None of this would have happened without the President. The President could have intervened to stop the violence. He did not. There has never been a greater betrayal by a President of the United States of his office and his oath to the Constitution. I will vote to impeach the President. We saw it in our own Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, whose allegiance to a higher loyalty kicked in to overcome the almost unbearable pressure, presidential power, to find the desperate commander-in-chief, 11,780 votes, one additional votes to put him over the top. The Secretary of State and manager, Gabriel Sterling, made the shift to this higher loyalty. Vice President Pence, the most loyal of the former president's loyalists, who, because he embraced a higher loyalty, would not disrupt official procedures to do what the Constitution would not permit him to do, who, running for his very life because his boss set him up for the kill, who the mob sought to hang, refused to embrace the big lie that the former president won the election by landslide. Our governor responded in kind when, by the certification of all 50 states, 61 courts, Congress of the United States of America, Joe Biden won, 45 lost. All three are passionate conservatives, worthy opponents of Democrats under normal circumstances, but who nonetheless at that critical, historical moment shifted gears, laid down the garments of partisanship, and wrapped themselves in the garb of a patriot in order to save the republic. When Nebuchadnezzar attempted, with that huge image of himself looming over the city of Babylon, to force Daniel and the three Hebrew boys to change their allegiance, they pledged to their God, and under the threat of death by the red-hot fires of the furnace, maintaining their allegiance to Israel's God, they responded with these words: "We will not bow, because our God is able to deliver us. But if he chooses not to deliver us, our allegiance, our devotion, our loyalty, our commitment, our ties that bind our hearts in Christian love and the fellowship of kindred minds that is like to that above, won't permit us to bow down to any other gods, because he said he's a jealous God." will have no other gods before him. Thou shalt not bow down to them, he said, nor serve them. I will visit the iniquities of the fathers upon the children, the third and the fourth generation, but will show mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Our loyalty is to a higher power, a higher authority, a higher deity, because he's able to deliver us. He requires full commitment, and he rewards the faithful. So when you find yourself standing between the opposing forces of your allegiance to God and allegiance to men and women legislators, say with Peter, we must obey God rather than men. You find yourself between love and hate, choose love. Between light and darkness, choose light. Between a higher loyalty and a lower one, take the high ground. Between high up or low down, go higher. In Gethsemane's garden, Jesus requested the removal of the suffering cup. But when the answer was not in the affirmative, there was a higher loyalty. And he responded, nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. Those who are members of Christian churches will be familiar with the words of this old hymn, I'm pressing on the upward way, new heights I'm gaining every day, still praying as I onward bound. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand by faith on heaven's tableland, a higher plane that I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. My heart has no desire to stay where doubts arise and fears dismay, though some may dwell where those abound. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. Lord, lift me up. Let me stand by faith on heaven's tableland, a higher plane that I have bound. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. Let us pray. For all that you do for us, our Father which art in heaven, we give you thanks. For your kingdom brought to us by Jesus Christ of Nazareth, that will one day come on earth as is in heaven. We give you thanks. In that day when the kingdoms of this world shall become kingdoms of our God and of his Christ, he shall reign forever and evermore. We give you thanks for our citizenship there. Because of him, your blessings upon this body, these decision makers, these lawmakers, bless them that they will always do those things that are based on a higher loyalty to a higher power, to a higher God, to a higher deity. In the name of the carpenter of Nazareth, even your son Jesus, we pray, and for his sake, let us all say, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, sir.
Doorkeepers will unlock the doors. Chair recognizes Chairman Hogan, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Information and Audits has read the journal of the previous legislative day and found it to be correct. And furthermore, Mr. Speaker, I know I'm not referring to this body, but if common sense was lard, most people wouldn't be able to grease a pan.
I'm keeping a book of these. Chairman Hogan, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? The chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. The clerk will read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day.
Mr. Burns, on 159th, moves following be established as the order of business during the first part of the period. Unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions. Second reading of bills and resolutions. Reports of standing committees. Third reading and passage of uncontested local bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions. Morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. First reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 412 by Representative Dempsey, the 13th, Paulo, the 32nd. Bennett, the 94th, Cooper, the 43rd, and Stevens, the 164th. Bill being titled an act to amend Title 43, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to professions and businesses.
Regulated Industries.
House Bill 413 by Representative Campbell, the 131st, Thomas, the 21st, Mathiak, the 73rd, Scoggins, the 14th, Gamble, the 15th, and others. Bill being titled an act to amend Chapter 12, Title 31 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to control of hazardous conditions.
Health and Human Services.
House Bill 414 by Representative Blackman in the 146th, Williamson in the 115th, Martin in the 49th, Smith in the 133rd, Newton in the 123rd. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 7, Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to income taxes.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 415 by Representative Blackman in the 146th, Newton in the 123rd, Stevens in the 164th, Knight in the 130th, Rhodes in the 120th. The bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 5C of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to alternative ad valorem tax.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 416 by Representative Blackman in the 146th, Stevens in the 164th, Rhodes in the 120th, Newton in the 123rd, Knight in the 130th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 6 of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to taxation of intangibles.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 417 by Representative Blackman in the 146th, Stevens in the 164th, Rhodes in the 120th, Knight in the 130th, and Newton in the 123rd. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 6 of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to taxation of intangibles.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 418 by Representative Blackman in the 146th, Stevens in the 164th, Rhodes in the 120th, Newton in the 123rd, and Williamson in the 115th. Bill being titled an act to amend Chapter 4, Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to tax sales.
Ways and
House
Means.
Bill 419 by Representative Blackman in the 146th, Stevens in the 164th, Rhodes to the 120th, Newton in the 23rd, and Williamson in the 115th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 9 of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to motor fuel and road taxes.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 420 by Representative Blackman in the 146th, Stevens in the 164th, Rhodes to the 120th, Smith in the 133rd, and Martin in the 49th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 11 of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to taxes on tobacco and vaping products.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 421 by Representative Blackman in the 146th, Stevens in the 164th, Rhodes to the 120th, Newton 123rd, Knight of the 130th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 9 of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to motor fuel and road taxes.
Ways and Means,
House Bill 422 by Representative Knight of the 130th, Rhodes the 120th, Stevens the 164th, Smith the 133rd, Martin of the 49th. Bill being titled an act to amend Chapter 5 of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to ad valorem taxation of property.
Ways and Means,
House Bill 423 by Representative Blackman of the 146th, Stevens the 164th, Newton the 123rd, Rhodes the 120th, Smith the 133rd. Bill being titled an act to amend Chapter 11 of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to taxes on tobacco and vaping products.
Ways and Means,
House Bill 424 by Representative Williamson of the 115th, Martin of the 49th, Smith of the 133rd, Newton 123rd, and Rhodes of the 120th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 7 of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to income taxes.
Ways and Means,
House Bill 425 by Representative Knight of the 130th, Newton 123rd, Rhodes the 120th, and Stevens the 164th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 5C of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to alternative ad valorem tax on motor vehicles.
Ways and Means,
House Bill 426 by Representative Knight of the 130th, Rhodes the 120th, Stevens of the 164th, Smith of the 133rd, and Martin of the 49th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 4 Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to sales taxes.
Ways and Means,
House Bill 427 by Representative Knight of the 130th, Rhodes the 120th, Stevens the 164th, Smith the 133rd, and Martin of the 49th. Bill being titled an act to amend Chapter 5 of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to ad valorem taxation of property.
Ways and Means,
House Bill 428 by Representative Martin of the 49th, Williamson of the 115th, Smith of the 133rd, Newton of the 123rd, Knight of the 130th, and others. Bill being titled an act to amend Chapter 8 of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to sales and use taxes.
Ways and Means,
House Bill 429 by Representative Martin of the 49th, Williamson of the 115th, Smith of the 133rd, Newton of the 123rd, and Knight of the 130th. Bill being titled an act to amend Chapter 8 of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to sales and use taxes.
Ways and Means,
House Bill 430 by Representative Powell of the 32nd, Nixon of the 69th, Collins of the 68th, Earhart of the 36th, Martin of the 49th, and others. Bill being titled an act to amend Chapter 26 of Title 43, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to nurses. Ready to drop it?
Regulated Industries,
House Bill 431 by Representative Drenner of the 85th, Jackson the 64th, Couch of the 50th, Beverly the 143rd, Bernal the 77th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 12, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions regarding conservation of natural resources.
Natural Resources and Environment.
House Bill 432 by Representative Joyner, the 85th, Jackson, the 64th, Couch, the 50th, Beverly, the 143rd, Bernal, the 77th, and others. Bill be titled and act to amend Title 12 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to conservation and natural resources.
Natural Resources and Environment.
House Bill 433 by Representatives McLaurin of the 51st and Wilson of the 80th. Bill be titled Act to amend Code Section 17.554 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to definitions and disposition of personal property.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 434 by Representative Powell of the 32nd, Jaspers of the 11th, Ballinger of the 23rd, Hitchens the 161st, Taylor the 173rd, and others. Bill be titled Act to amend Chapter 60 of Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions applicable to counties and municipal corporations.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 435 by Representative Anderson of the 10th, Gravely the 67th, Washburn of the 141st, Lumsden of the 12th, and Williams of the 145th. Bill be titled Act to amend Article 2, Chapter 91 of Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to contracting and bidding requirements.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 436 by Representative Bruce the 61st, Bazemore the 63rd, Schofield the 60th, Jones the 47th, Jackson the 64th. Bill be titled Act to amend Code Section 16, 13, 32.6 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to manufacturing, distributing, and dispensing.
Judiciary Non-Civil.
House Bill 437 by Representative Howard of the 124th, Beverly the 143rd, Schofield the 60th, and Cooper the 43rd. Bill be titled Act to amend Chapter 60 of Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions applicable to counties and municipal corporations.
Health and Human Services.
House Bill 438 by Representative Kendrick the 93rd, Beverly the 143rd, Neal the 74th, McLaurin of the 51st, Bodie the 62nd, and others. Bill be titled Act to amend Chapter 8 of Title 35 the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to employment and training of peace officers.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 439 by Representative Hitchens, the 161st, Lumsden of the 12th, Saints of the 180th, Williams of the 145th, and Gravely the 67th. Bill be titled Act to amend Title 40 and Article 7 of Chapter 8 of Title 42.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 440 by Representative Holly, the 111th, Lewis Ward of the 109th, Wilkerson of the 38th, and Douglas the 78th. Bill be titled an Act to amend Chapter 31 and Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to incorporation of municipal corporations.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 441 by Representative Clark, the 98th. Bill be titled an Act to amend Chapter 7 and Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to income taxes.
Creative Arts and Entertainment.
House Bill 442 by Representative Collins, the 68th, Abstration of the 104th, Bearhart of the 36th, Ballinger the 23rd, and Gravely the 67th. Bill be titled an Act to amend Title 19 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to domestic relations.
Juvenile Justice.
House Bill 443 by Representative Leverett of the 33rd and Scoggins the 14th. Bill be titled an Act to amend Chapter 12 and Title 51 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to damages.
Judiciary.
House Bill 444 by Representative Parrish, the 142nd, Mitchell, the 88th, Beverly, the 143rd, Holcomb, the 81st, Taylor, the 173rd, and others. Bill be titled an Act to amend Code Section 141 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to public and legal holidays.
State Planning and Community Affairs.
House Bill 445 by Representative Bruce, the 61st, Bazemore, the 63rd, Jones, the 47th, Bodie, the 62nd, Martin, the 49th, and others. Bill be titled an Act to amend an Act to incorporate the city of South Fulton and Fulton County.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
House Bill 446 by Representative Kennard of the 102nd, Workeyes of the 157th, Bodie, the 62nd, Wynn of the 89th, Alexander, the 66th, and others. Bill be titled an Act to amend Article 5, Chapter 5 of Title 40, the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to identification cards.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 447 by Representative Knight of the 130th, Hatchett of the 150th, England of the 116th, and Newton of the 123rd. Bill be titled an Act to amend Part 1 of Article 1 of Chapter 18 of Title 45, the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to state employees' health insurance plan.
Special Committee on Access to Quality Health Care.
House Bill 448 by Representative Knight of the 130th, Hatchett of the 150th, England of the 116th, and Newton of the 123rd. Bill be titled an Act to amend Article 7, Chapter 4, Title 49, the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to medical assistance generally.
Special Committee on Access to Quality Health Care.
House Bill 449 by Representative Smith, the 133rd, Parsons, the 44th, Burns, the 159th, and Frazier, the 126th. Bill being titled an act to amend Chapter 9 and Title 25, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to blasting or excavating near utility facilities.
Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications.
House Bill 450 by Representative Newton, the 123rd, Hatcher, the 150th, Cooper, the 43rd, Hutchinson, the 107th, Gaines, the 117th. Bill being titled an act to amend Code Section 31, 2A, 18, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to low THC oil patient registry.
Health and Human Services.
House Bill 451 by Representative Lumsden, the 12th, Williamson, the 115th, Knight, the 130th, Carson, the 46th, and Martin, the 49th. Bill be titled an act to amend Part 1 of Article 2, Chapter 5 of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to property tax exemptions.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 452 by Representative Jaspers, the 11th, Williams of the 148th, Smith of the 133rd, Bentley, the 139th, Burns, the 159th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 48.7, 40.34 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to tax credit for Class 3 railroads and reporting.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 453 by Representative McDonald, the 26th, Ridley, the 6th, Corbett of the 174th, Mount Tahana, the 17th, Powell, the 32nd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 40.2, 86.1 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to special license plates.
Motor Vehicles.
House Bill 454 by Representative Newton, the 123rd, Hatchet, the 150th, Cooper, the 43rd, Gaines, the 117th, and Hawkins, the 27th. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 33, 20C, 2 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to online provider directories.
Special Committee on Access to Quality Health Care.
House Bill 455 by Representative Barr, the 103rd, Corbett of the 174th, Dickey the 140th, Jaspers the 11th, Wen of the 89th, and others. A bill being titled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to elementary and secondary education.
Education.
House Bill 456 by Representative Smith of the 18th, Nix of the 69th, Collins of the 68th. Bill being titled an act to amend an act providing for the Carroll County Board of Elections.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
House Bill 457 by Representative Jackson, the 64th, Hobson, the 153rd, Frazier, the 126th, Hutchinson, the 107th, and Scott of the 76th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 6 of Title 19, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions regarding alimony and child support.
Judiciary.
House Bill 458 by Representative Cooper, the 43rd, Holcomb of the 81st, Gaines, the 117th, Newton, the 123rd, and Hawkins, the 27th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 34, Title 43, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to physicians and physician assistants.
Health and Human Services.
House Bill 459 by Representative Martin of the 49th, Jones of the 47th, and Dollar of the 45th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 5, Chapter 36, Title 36, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to limitation on annexation of areas furnished.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 460 by Representative Martin of the 49th, Hawkins of the 27th, Jones of the 25th, Kennard of the 102nd, Carpenter of the 4th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 10, 1, 664.1 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to restrictions on the ownership, operation, or control of dealerships.
Motor Vehicles.
House Bill 461 by Representative Fleming of the 121st, Jones of the 47th, Rich of the 97th, Williams of the 145th, and Deloach of the 167th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 21, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to elections and primaries generally.
Special Committee on Election Integrity.
House Resolution 144 by Representative Williams, the 145th, a resolution honoring the life and memory of Miss Katie Poff and dedicating an intersection in her memory.
Transportation.
House Resolution 145 by Representative Williams, the 145th, a resolution honoring the life of Miss Danette Odom Jackson and dedicating a bridge in her memory.
Transportation.
House Resolution 146 by Representative Parks, the 101st, Oliver, the 82nd, Schofield, the 60th, Drenner, the 85th, and Clark, the 108th, and others. A resolution creating the House Study Committee on Adverse Childhood Experiences.
Health and Human Services.
House Resolution 147 by Representative Howard of the 124th, Jackson the 128th, Bentley the 139th, Beverly the 143rd, Schofield the 60th. A resolution creating the House Study Committee on Abuse of Disabled Parking Permits.
Health and Human Services.
House Resolution 148 by Representative Lumsden of the 12th, Scoggins the 14th, Tarpon of the 2nd, Carpenter of the 4th, Ridley the sixth, a resolution honoring the life and memory of probate judge John Payne and dedicating the intersection in his memory.
Transportation.
House Resolution 149 by Representative Clark of the 108th, Couch of the 50th, Evans of the 83rd, and Buckner of the 137th. A resolution urging the 117th Congress and the Georgia Congressional Delegation to support the Carbon Dividend Act.
Natural Resources and Environment.
Senate Bill 32 by Senator Brass of the 28th, Robertson of the 29th, Burke of the 11th, Albers of the 56th, Gooch of the 51st, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 50, 18, 72, the official code of Georgia annotated relating when public disclosure is not required.
Judiciary.
Senate Bill 33 by Senator Dixon of the 45th, Hatch of the 50th, Mullis of the 53rd, Miller of the 49th, and Jackson the 2nd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 1 and Title 51 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions regarding torts.
Judiciary.
Senate Bill 34 by Senator Dixon of the 45th, Hatch of the 50th, Mullis of the 53rd, Miller of the 49th, Jackson the 2nd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 12 of Title 19 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to name change.
Judiciary.
Senate Bill 49 by Senator Dixon of the 45th, Miller of the 49th, Anderson the 24th, Gooch of the 51st, Dugan of the 30th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 2 of Title 8 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to standards and requirements for construction.
Agriculture and Consumer Affairs.
Senate Bill 86 by Senator Walker of the 20th, Payne of the 54th, Hickman of the 4th, Albers of the 56th, Thompson of the 4th, 14th, and others. A bill being titled an act to amend Part 2 of Article 15 of Chapter 1 of Title 10 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to Fair Business Practices Act of 1975.
Judiciary.
That completes first readers.
Second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 389 by Representative Jones of the 25th, Burchett of the 176th, Holly of the 111th, Gilligan of the 24th. A bill relating to employment security. House Bill 390 by Representative Thomas of the 65th, Burnell of the 77th, Bruce of the 61st, Jackson of the 128th, Dukes of the 154th, and others. A bill relating to vocational, technical, and adult education. House Bill 391 by Representative Thomas of the 65th, Holly of the 111th, Maynard of the 56th, Bruce of the 61st, Jackson of the 128th, and others. A bill relating to general provisions relative to labor and industrial relations. House Bill 392 by Representative Ridley of the 6th, Powell of the 32nd, Irwin of the 28th, Scoggins of the 14th, and Washburn of the 141st. A bill relating to alcoholic beverages. House Bill 393 by Representative Stevens of the 164th. A bill relating to general provisions for sales and use taxes. House Bill 394 by Representative Stevens of the 164th. A bill relating to taxes on tobacco and vaping products. House Bill 395 by Representative Belton of the 112th, Brookhiser of the 157th, Corbett of the 174th, Lumpson of the 12th, Holcomb of the 81st, and others. A bill relating to professional counselors, social workers, and marriage and family therapists. House Bill 396 by Representative Green of the 151st, Campbell of the 171st, Dukes of the 154th. A bill to repeal an act creating the South Georgia Regional Information Technology Authority. House Bill 397 by Representative Werkheiser of the 157th, Kirby of the 114th, McLean of the 100th, Moran of the 96th. A bill relating to professional employer organizations, rights, powers, and responsibilities. House Bill 398 by Representative Williamson of the 115th, Hatchett of the 150th, Kelly of the 16th, Blackman of the 146th, Martin of the 49th, and others. A bill relating to conditions for taking job tax credit by business enterprise and calculating credit. House Bill 399 by Representative Clark of the 147th, Singleton of the 71st, Belton of the 112th, Williams of the 168th, Holcomb of the 81st, and others. A bill relating to the computation of taxable net income. House Bill 400 by Representative Dollar of the 45th, Powell of the 32nd, Jaspers of the 11th, and Olowitz of the 42nd, Holly of the 111th. A bill relating to property. House Bill 401 by Representative Earhart of the 36th, Newton of the 123rd, Jaspers of the 11th, Gravely of the 67th, Carson of the 46th, and others. A bill relating to health. House Bill 402 by Representative Davis of the 87th, Drenner of the 85th, Evans of the 83rd, Mitchell of the 88th, Scott of the 76th, and others. A bill relating to general provisions regarding public officers and employees. House Bill 403 by Representative Wiedauer of the 119th, Reeves of the 34th, Gaines of the 117th, Hutchinson of the 107th, Oliver of the 82nd, and others. A bill relating to the Georgia Child Advocate for the Protection of Children Act. House Bill 404 by Representative Kennard of the 102nd, Werkheiser of the 157th, McLaurin of the 51st, Kendrick of the 93rd, Holcomb of the 81st, and others. A bill relating to review of individuals' criminal history record information. House Bill 405 by Representative Walensky of the 79th, Rich of the 97th, Oliver of the 82nd, Scoggins of the 14th, Holcomb of the 81st, and others. A bill relating to general provisions regarding superior courts. House Bill 406 by Representative Wade of the 9th, Blackman of the 146th, Ridley of the 6th, Williamson of the 115th, Gamble of the 15th, and others. A bill relating to elections and primaries. House Bill 407 by Representative Wade of the 9th, Thomas of the 21st, Glanton of the 75th, McDonald of the 26th, Gamble of the 15th, and others. A bill relating to income taxes. House Bill 408 by Representative Cooper of the 43rd, Rich of the 97th, Evans of the 57th, Holcomb of the 81st. A bill relating to dispossessory proceedings. House Bill 409 by Representative Gunter of the 8th, Fleming of the 121st, Abstration of the 104th, Reeves of the 34th, Kelly of the 16th, and others. A bill relating to counsel for public officials and agencies. House Bill 410 by Representative Lumsden of the 12th, Hitchens of the 161st, Collins of the 68th, Scoggins of the 14th, and Jackson of the 128th. A bill relating to bingo. House Bill 411 by Representative Gullett of the 19th, England of the 116th, Burns of the 159th, Gravely of the 67th, Burchett of the 176th, and others. A bill relating to general provisions regarding prosecuting attorneys. House Resolution 129 by Representative Neal of the 74th, Evans of the 57th, Wynn of the 89th. A resolution proposing amendment to the Constitution so as to authorize the General Assembly to provide for the net proceeds of one or more lottery games to support economic development purposes. House Resolution 130 by Representative McDonald of the 26th, Jones of the 25th, Cantrell of the 22nd, Wade of the 9th, and Gilligan of the 24th. A resolution ratifying the action of the Board of Community Affairs approving the transfer of the Forsyth County from Georgia Mountains Regional Commission to the Atlanta Regional Commission. House Resolution 131 by Representative Bennett of the 94th, Hughley of the 136th, Kendrick of the 93rd, Beverly of the 143rd, Wilkerson of the 38th. A resolution creating the House Study Committee on Health in Georgia. House Resolution 142 by Representative Green of the 151st and Perkle of the 155th. A resolution authorizing the lease of state-owned property. House Resolution 143 by Representative Green of the 151st and Perkle of the 155th. A resolution authorizing the granting of non-exclusive easements. Senate Bill 44 by Senator Thompson of the 14th, Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Mullis of the 53rd, McNeil of the 3rd, Hufstetler of the 52nd, and others. A bill relating to special license plates. Senate Bill 60 by Senator Thompson of the 14th, Alberts of the 56th, Mullis of the 53rd, Robertson of the 29th, Payne of the 54th, and others. A bill relating to the Georgia State Indemnification Fund. 3 second readers.
Reports of standing committees, the clerk will read.
Representative Jan Tankerson, the 160th District Chairman of Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Local, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Locals had under consideration the following bills of the House and instructed me to report the same back to the House with following recommendations. House Bill 331 do pass. House Bill 357 do pass. House Bill 361 do pass. House Bill 375 do pass. House Bill 376 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Jan Tankersley of the 160th District Chairman. Representative John Corbett of the 174th District Chairman of the Committee on Motor Vehicles submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Motor Vehicles has had under consideration the following bills of the House and has instructed me to report the same back to the House with following recommendations. House Bill 165 do pass. House Bill 179 do pass by committee substitute. House Bill 353 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative John Corbett of the 174th District Chairman. That completes the reading of the reports of standing committees.
Third reading and passage of uncontested local bills. We're going on now to the local calendar. Going on to the local calendar. If there is no objection, we will vote on the local calendar as a whole with a recorded vote. Hearing none, it is so ordered. The clerk will read the local calendar.
House Bill 331 by Representative Frazier, the 126th, City of Sardis. House Bill 357 by Representative Campbell, 171st, City of Pelham. House Bill 361 by Representative Green, the 151st, City of Edison. House Bill 375 by Representative Smith of the 18th, City of Bremen. House Bill 376 by Representative Laricki of the 169th, Bacon County.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on the local calendar? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bills, The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall these bills now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bills on the local calendar will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of the bills on the local calendar. The ayes are 162, the nays are 0. These bills, having received the requisite constitutional majority, are therefore passed. We're going on now to morning orders. If you have signed up for a morning order, be making your way to the front of the chamber. Be making your way now to the front of the chamber. Chair recognizes for a morning order Chairman Bonnie Rich. We're going to have 1 minute each for morning orders today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This on the screen is Henry Smith with his grandchildren at our local Waffle House in Sewanee for their Christmas morning tradition. Henry was a devoted grandfather, father, and husband, and he had a goal to live to 100. He faithfully saw his doctors and took his medicine. He was mentally alert and living well when he became sick, and he was hospitalized shortly. Unfortunately, he was separated at the door from his family, and he was alone and scared. This once confident World War II veteran began calling his son, fearful about what was happening to him. He didn't understand. He wanted his son to come be with him, and when that couldn't happen, he asked his son to come get him. On the ride home, he told his son that this hospital stay was one of the worst things that had ever happened to him. Days later, when he got into trouble, his home nurse pleaded with him to go back to the hospital, but he said he would never go back, that he didn't want to relive what he had experienced before. He chose to stay home and be with his family rather than to seek treatment because he didn't want to be separated from them. The time for this to stop has come. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Burnow for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On March 2nd, we will celebrate Dr. Seuss's birthday, known as Read Across America Day. In honor of that day, I'm asking that each of us record ourselves reading a Dr. Seuss book and send it to the elementary schools in your district to be shared with the students on March 2nd. I am also asking that members in the House celebrate that day by the men wearing red tie or bow tie and the ladies wearing red and white. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Moore for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As we observed President's Day yesterday, in the middle of Black History Month, I wanted to share my favorite memory recent history that combines the two. You see, on September 12th, 2019, I watched as 26 members of the Georgia Legislative Black Caucus publish a letter in support of the man who would eventually become the 46th President of the United States. Now remember, this was in the middle of a crowded field. There was no clear front runner at the time, and admittedly, I'd hitched my wagon to a different candidate. But these 26 members of this legislative body had the wisdom to know that experience matters, the foresight to pick a winner out of a crowded field, and the leadership to put their name on the line for the man who would become the leader of our party, our state, and our country. So I want to celebrate these members and thank them for their leadership.
Chair recognizes Representative Scott for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. From one female veteran to another, I salute you today. We served in the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, Coastal Guard, Army Reserves, and National Guards. We fought in all the wars, and we are still fighting today. Women veterans in this great state, I salute you today. Today, I had the honor of recognizing Nancy Gail Hamp, Jacqueline Perry Blaylock, and Betty Turner. To all the women veterans in this great state of Georgia, I salute you today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Schofield for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am a Black woman. Although the nation honors Black history for 1 month, I'm proud of my history, 365 days strong. Today I present Alice Coachman. Alice Coachman became the first Black woman from any country to win a gold medal in track and field. Coachman had come from a poor background in Albany, Georgia, and due to segregation, she was had restricted access to top quality training facilities and was also often denied the opportunity to train for or compete in organized sporting events. However, that didn't stop her from continuing to develop her strengths and talents. Coachman ran barefoot on dirt roads and used old equipment to train. Then she was taken under the wing of the boys track coach at Madison High School, Harry E. Lash, who recognized her talents. She broke high school and college AAU track records for track and field barefoot. In 1939, she received a scholarship at the age of 16 to Tuskegee Institute in Tuskegee, Alabama. As she continued to dominate the AAU competitions, in 1946, she enrolled in Albany State College. She won the national champion in the 50 and 100 meters races, as well as the 400-meter relay and high jump. Despite her back injury, Coachman set a record for the high jump with a mark of 5 feet, 6 1/8 inches, making her the first Black woman to win an Olympic gold medal. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I leave you with this word that she said. Her quote is, and I grabbed this to my heart, "I paved the way for them all." Alice Coachman, thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Derek Jackson for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Founded 112 years ago on February 12, 1909, the National Association for Advancement of Colored People was formed. It is the nation's foremost largest and most widely recognized civil rights organization. It has over 500,000 members and supporters, and this organization continues to fight the good fight to ensure that this true aim that it was created for. And it was created for all people, the rights guaranteed in the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments to the United States Constitution, which promised to end to slavery and the equal protection under the law. The NAACP is a great example when we all come together. Nearly 60 Americans came together, whites and blacks, to fight a common cause. And that is a true moment of Black history. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
We had one more member who had signed up for a morning order. Representative Hobson. She's waived. We are now going on to the rules calendar. Going on to the rules calendar. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 146.
House Bill 146 by Representative Gaines, the 117th, Cooper, the 43rd, and others to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 20 and Title 45 of the official code of Georgia and Tatum relating to general provisions regarding personnel administration so as to provide for paid parental leave for eligible state employees. This bill having referred to the Committee on Health and Human Services, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes Representative Houston Gaines to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I bring before you this morning House Bill 146, which is a piece of legislation that this House passed 164 to 1 last year, and so everybody in this body who was here last year voted for it because the one is no longer with us. So I just want to ask for your support on 3 weeks of paid parental leave for state employees that would apply upon birth, adoption, or foster care placement for full-time state employees. You know, this is something that President Trump and Ivanka Trump have led on at the federal level, including 12 weeks of paid leave for federal employees. And so we feel like this is a positive step forward for our state. And Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for your leadership on this issue in particular. So happy to answer any questions and would appreciate this body's continued bipartisan support of this measure.
Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the will.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 146 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 146. The ayes are 155, the nays are 2. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 93.
House Bill 93 by Representative Cooper, the 43rd, to be entitled an act to amend Title 31 of the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to health so as to eliminate duplicative state licensure and regulation of clinical laboratories. This bill having referred to the Committee on Health and Human Services. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes Chairman Cooper to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I bring to you the committee substitute to House Bill 93. We have, the federal government regulates labs in our state, but for 4% of our labs, our state bureaucracy has added even higher regulations on them. And so this makes it an even playing field by saying that all our labs will be regulated by the federal standard and the federal regulatory system. The states, they will still have to report any infectious diseases to the state, and the state can step in if they are not following federal guidelines. That is the essence of the bill, and I would appreciate your positive vote on this measure. And if there are no questions, Mr. Speaker, I will yield the well.
You do not have any questions.
Thank you, sir. I yield the well.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 93. The ayes are 161, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 254.
House Bill 254, Representative Lumsden to the 12th and others, be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 23 of Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to licensing of agents, agencies, sub-agents, counselors, and adjusters. This bill having referred to the Committee on Insurance, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes the chair of the House Insurance Committee, Chairman Lumsden, to present the bill.
Morning, Mr. Speaker, members of the House. I bring to you House Bill 254. This is a department bill that comes as a priority request from the Insurance Commissioner. House Bill 254 addresses the laws governing the operation of public adjusters in our state. Whenever an insured person files a claim for a loss, an insurance adjuster is involved in investigating and coordinating settlement of the claims. Larger companies may use a company adjuster, while smaller companies often use a public adjuster. In a natural disaster, such as a hurricane or tornado, public adjusters play an important role for claims settlement for many people. Most public adjusters are professional and perform a valuable service in helping those who have suffered loss to obtain repairs and coordinate settlement of their claim. However, public adjusters are one of the most consistent sources of consumer fraud the Georgia Department of Insurance deals with every year, costing consumers millions of dollars. The majority of this fraud is aimed at the elderly, the disabled, or those who are in the most need after a natural disaster. This has been a common problem in most coastal states for many years because, like Georgia, they deal with natural disasters and have laws governing the operation of public adjusters that are broad and lacking in specifics. House Bill 254 changes Georgia's public adjuster law to align with similar changes made in Florida as well as Texas, both states that deal with natural disasters and public adjusters. The changes include new licensing requirements, higher standards of conduct, introduces new consumer protections, governs how a public adjuster can present themselves, requires the use of department-approved contracts, specifically bans the public adjuster from serving in multiple capacities, specifically from serving as a contractor as well as the appraiser. It gives the department the authority to adopt rules and regulations necessary to implement this legislation. Mr. Speaker, that is the bill. I'll be glad to answer any questions if there are any, and I would appreciate your favorable consideration.
You do not have any questions.
Thank you. I yield the will.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 254 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of House Bill 254. The ayes are 160, the nays are 3. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 200.
House Bill 200 by Representative Powell, the 32nd, to be entitled an act to amend Title 40, the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to motor vehicles and traffic, so as to provide for the issuance of a Class C driver's license to operators for certain three-wheeled motor vehicles. This bill having referred to the Committee on Motor Vehicles, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes Chairman Alan Powell to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and ladies and gentlemen of the House. You know, you've heard about simple bills. Well, this is one that we continue to have to bring up every so many years. Technology that has changed so many of the types of vehicles we deal with. Back a few years ago, because of the driver's license classification, we had to redefine the difference in a three-wheeled motorcycle and a three-wheeled vehicle. And we did this a few years ago with that certain definition. Now the changes have been made in these three-wheeled vehicles a little bit more. And what we've done is that we've changed the definitions of the driver's license classification. And it clarifies the difference between a three-wheel motorcycle and a three-wheel motor vehicle. Excuse me. Excuse me, that was my ex calling me.
You want me to take that call for you?
No, sir. But if you look on lines 18, 37, and 45, the definition that we've given is that if these vehicles have seat belts and a frame to partially or fully enclose the operator, then these would be considered a three-wheel vehicle. Thus, they would be exempt from the seat belt and goggles. Mr. Speaker, that's quite simply, I said it's a simple bill, and that's what it is, and I would appreciate your favorable consideration. I'll be glad to answer any questions if there are any.
Well, you have some questions. Do you yield?
I will, sir.
Chair recognizes Chairman Petrie to your left for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us, sir, which X was it that was calling you?
That was the original.
You have some coastal confusion, Mr. Chairman. Chair recognizes Representative Al Williams to your left for a question.
I could assure you I've never had an X from down in coastal Georgia.
The gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
There's still time.
But I assure you, so far, we're kind of happy about that. Very seriously, since I know there might be multiple, what does the current latest ex think about the bill?
I'm sorry, what does what?
Your latest ex, not from the coast, think about your bill, and does she ride three-wheelers?
There's a few of them wouldn't mind what I rode as long as I rode the right thing. Mr. Speaker, this is pretty well a self-explanatory bill, and I would certainly appreciate your favorable consideration.
The gentleman has yielded the will. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 200. The ayes are 128, the nays are 35. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 207.
House Bill 207 by Representative Corbett of the 174th and others to be entitled an act to amend Title 40 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to motor vehicles and traffic so as to provide for electronic submission of certain documentation required of manufacturers, distributors, dealers, secondary metal recyclers, used motor vehicle parts dealers, and scrap metal processors. This bill having referred to the Committee on Motor Vehicles. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes Chairman Corbett to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House, I'll bring before you House Bill 207, LC 392861S. With the new drive system that the Department of Revenue has, documents that previously had to be mailed in can now be filed electronically, which is easier and more cost-effective for the business community, and it brings the state up to date with the way business is being done today. Basically, Section 1 of the bill provides that manufacturers, distributors, dealers engaged in the manufacture, sale, or leasing of vehicles shall file this registration electronically. Section 2 of the bill, anyone that cancels a certificate of title, whether it be a scrap metal dealer or an insurance company where they've totaled a car, that shall be filed electronically. Then the third section of the bill deals with when a court-ordered sale, either be it from a repair facility or a tow truck that towed it in and it's been abandoned, they have to submit a bill of sale to the Department of Revenue, and this shall be done electronically. And that's basically all we're doing with this bill, is just bring us up to the way business is being done today, and I would appreciate everybody's favorable consideration of the bill, and I'll yield for any questions, Mr. Speaker.
You do not have any questions.
Thank you.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the passage of House Bill 207, the ayes are 164, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. The clerk will read the caption to House Bill 163.
House Bill 163 by Representative Cooper of the 43rd and others to be entitled an act to amend Article 7, Chapter 4, Title 49 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to medical assistance generally, so as to direct the Department of Community Health to submit a state plan amendment to implement express lane enrollment in Medicaid. This bill having referred to the Committee on Health and Human Services. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes Chairman Cooper to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues in the House, I bring to you the Health Committee substitute to House Bill 163. This would establish express lane eligibility. What that means is that children that are eligible for SNAP, which is our food assistance program in the state, and covers our families on the lowest income levels, that those children would be immediately enrolled in the Medicaid Peach Care program for children. They are already eligible for this program, but at our current time, they have to go through 2 enrollment processes. And for many families, this is very difficult. They don't have computers. They live in South Georgia where they don't have Wi-Fi connections, or on my street in East Cobb where I don't have it either. Or, you know, they don't have a car to go to the DFACS office. And we have children across the state that are eligible for health care that are not getting it today because of this glitch in the way our plans you have to apply. So this would direct the state to ask for a state plan waiver that we could set this kind of program up and say, if that is it in a nutshell. It will cover many more of our children that are already eligible for health care, and I ask for your favorable consideration of House Bill 163, the substitute. And if there's no questions, Mr. Speaker, I yield the well.
Do you yield for a question?
Yes, sir, I'll yield for one.
Chair recognizes Leader Beverly to your left for a question.
Does General Liddy yield?
Yes, sir, I will.
This is a friendly question. In the event that we expand Medicaid, just anticipate that we would have a Medicaid expansion, would this bill still apply? Would we have to redo this?
Leader Beverly, you're asking me something I don't think I'm qualified to answer. I guess it would depend on if we still had the separate programs for them, and we still had Peach Care and a separate sort of Medicaid program for it.
Yeah, and then just one clarifying question. You talked about Medicaid and Peach Care, WellCare and Peach Care combined. And does this bill anticipate that if there's another third-party insurance that it would already be grandfathered into this particular bill?
The difference is that what level of poverty you are. That's the only thing. Medicaid has one level of poverty for this and for SNAP and all, and then it's a little higher to be eligible for the Peach Care. But basically, it's one program.
Okay.
But that's why you see it split in the bill.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, I think I will yield the well. Thank you.
Lady has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the passage of House Bill 163, the ayes are 166, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 128.
House Bill 128 by Representative Williams, the 145th, and others to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 1 and Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to general provisions regarding health so as to prohibit providers from discriminating against potential organ transplant recipients. This bill having referred to the Committee on Health and Human Services, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes Representative Rick Williams to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Hello, colleagues. I think a lot of you probably remember last year we passed Gracie's Law. It was overwhelming majority, and I ask for your favorable support again as we try to get this across the hurdle over to the Senate side. This is a bill that Representative Mac Jackson and I co-sponsored last year and again this year. Stand for any questions if there are any, Mr. Speaker.
You do not have any questions.
I ask for your favorable consideration. Thank you all very much.
We have a member that wishes to be heard from on the bill. The chair recognizes Representative Mac Jackson to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I rise in support of House Bill 128. This is a bill that Representative Rick Williams and I worked on last session, and this bill passed out of the House, but because of COVID-19, it stalled in the Senate. Lil Gracie and her family, David and Aaron Nobles, who are friends of mine, are watching us today. Ladies and gentlemen, I urge you to support House Bill 128 once again so we can get it over to the Senate and Georgia can show the nation that we do not discriminate against persons with disabilities. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of House Bill 128. The ayes are 166, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. The clerk will read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions.
Honoring the life and memory of Marcia Morrill Harmon Dodd. Honoring the life and memory of Bradley Coleman Cole Cooey. Recognizing and commending Private First Class Bradford Davis Bullard for completing the Marine Crucible on February 25th through February 27th. Recognizing and commending Irwin County Board of Education member Gary Polk upon the retirement from the board and for his 26 years of exemplary service on the Irwin County Board of Education. Honoring the life and memory of Jimmy Ray East. Recognizing and commending A.V. Reeves for receiving the 2020 Georgia PA of the Year Award. And for other purposes, that completes the reading of the privileged resolutions.
Is there any objection to adopting the privileged resolutions? The chair hears none, and the resolutions are adopted. For what purpose does Chairman Blackman rise?
Make a motion.
State your motion.
Move that House Bill 32 be recommitted to the Ways and Means Committee.
Clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 32 by Representative Belton of the 112th and others to be entitled an act to amend Part 9 of Article 6, Chapter 2, Title 20, the official code of Georgia Annotated relating to grants for educational programs.
Chairman Blackman has moved that House Bill 32 be recommitted to the Ways and Means Committee. Is there objection? Is there objection? The chair hears none, and it is so ordered. What purpose does Chairman Stevens rise?
To make a motion.
State your motion.
I move that House H.R. 30 be moved from the Economic Development and Tourism Committee to the Regulated Industries Committee. Both chairmen agree.
Clerk will read the caption.
House Resolution 30 by Representative Stevens of the 164th and others, proposing an amendment to the Constitution so as to authorize the General Assembly to provide by law for the local authorization of a limited number of licensed destination resort facility casino resorts.
On the gentleman's motion that House Resolution 30 be moved from the Economic Development and Tourism Committee to Regulated Industries Committee, is there objection? Is there objection? Chair hears none, and it is so ordered. We're about to go on to announcements. If you have signed up for an announcement, then make your way to the front of the chamber. Chair recognizes Chairman Todd Jones for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just want to remind everybody that the new wave of bus transportation for children is out on Mitchell Street right now. It's a fully EV bus, so take a look at it. Thank you so much.
Chair recognizes Representative Reeves for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Two quick announcements. The Reeves Judiciary Non-Civil Committee will be meeting at 3:30 today. We will take up House Bill 411. And the second announcement is the governor is holding a press conference at 2 o'clock today to talk about the citizens arrest bill, which I am holding in my hands here right now and I'm about to file. And you're all invited to that press conference at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Evans, Becky Evans, for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Women's Caucus will meet today, and you can pick up your lunch in 216, and thank you so much.
Chair recognizes Chairman Trey Rhodes for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Game fishing parks today at 2 o'clock in 403. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Gamble for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House, tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock in room 403, the fellowship will meet, and I want to encourage all of you to attend. It's open to everyone. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Dubnik for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The House Education Committee will meet at 1 p.m. in 606. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Dollar for an announcement.
Thank you, Speaker. The Subcommittee of Energy Utilities and Telecommunications, the Subcommittee on Telecom, will be meeting at 3 o'clock upstairs in 403. And there will be a full committee following that. The chairman's going to come speak to that. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Collins for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee, the Subcommittee A, will meet today at 415 CLOB at 1 p.m. That's Public Safety and Homeland Security Subcommittee A, 1 o'clock, 415 CLOB.
Chair recognizes Chairman Parsons for an announcement.
Thank you, Speaker. The Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications Committee will be meeting this afternoon at 3:30 in room 403 here in the Capitol. It'll be at 3:30 or right upon adjournment of the Energy Subcommittee, the Telecommunications Subcommittee. It'll be a hybrid meeting, and you should have received a link for the Zoom if that's the way you have to attend. Thank you, Speaker.
Chair recognizes Chairman Cooper for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Health and Human Services will meet this afternoon at 2 o'clock in 606 CLOB. 2 o'clock, 606 CLOB. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Setzler for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Setzler Subcommittee of Judiciary and Non-Civil will meet today at 1 o'clock and 515 CLOB.
Chair recognizes Chairman Dickey for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Agriculture and Consumer Affairs Committee will meet in the morning at 8 o'clock in 406 CLOB. Thank you.
That completes our announcements. I hope you'll join with me. We have members celebrating a birthday today. Representative Sheila Jones is celebrating a birthday. Representative Elmati Holly is celebrating a birthday today. And happy birthday to Representative Tom Kirby. And a happy anniversary today to Representative Roger Bruce, and much sympathy and condolences to his wife. 36 years. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader of the House for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, February the 17th, 2021.
Majority Leader has moved that this House be adjourned until 10 o'clock a.m. on Wednesday, February 17, 2021. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed will say no. The ayes have it. This House will be adjourned until Wednesday at 10 a.m.